javaisawesome, and in the last videos we have discussed like what is the configurations, what is the bean, what is the primary, what is the qualifier, and how to use the project lombok, which we have discussed, and also we have discussed the customize the banners. Those videos are already available on our platform. Okay, now let us start with the simple project to understand the basic project structure of the Spring Boot. And we are going to develop one project which is a stand-alone project. So we can develop one Spring Boot stand-alone project, and in this project this is one of the assignment, and with the help of this assignment we try to understand like what and how our project will work exactly. Okay, and how we are in this assignment what we are going to do is we are going to read the data from the files, which is maybe the CSV, Excel, or any text file. So in the text we can put some list of the sprint data, or maybe the list of the fruits, or maybe list of the employee we can put, and those data we can try to read it, and then after try to filter those data based on the condition. So we can apply the filter on that based on the price, salary, or roll number maybe, and then after we can write those filter data into the another CSV file or Excel files. Okay, so this is the requirements which we have, and we are going to develop this project in the Spring Boot so that we can understand some basic structure of the Spring Boot, like how it's working exactly. Okay, so let's start now. So the main goal is how to work with the CSV file and how to understand the project structure. This is the two things we have to understand with this project. Okay, so I'm going to open my Eclipse and in this Eclipse what we are going to do is, let me open the paint first. Okay, so in the paint I will show you. Okay, there is nothing right now. This is the Spring Boot project structures, project on CSV. Let me open it. Okay, so if you see this flow, so we have one CSV file, employee.csv file. So those CSV file we can store somewhere in our folder structures of the project, or maybe some external source also we can store, and those files we can read with the help of this class CSV data reader. So we can create one DAO class which is CSV data reader. The responsibility of this class is only read the data from the CSV file. Okay, and then after we have another class which is employee filter data.java, which is going to filter the data. So this is the utility class, we can say. So then after if you see this is the CSV data writer DAO.java. This class having a responsibility to store the data into the another CSV file. Okay. So these things we are going to do in our project from the starting. Okay, so it's a very interesting, and it's a very important to understand each and everything. Okay, the structure of this, and finally we are going to develop one service class which is going to communicate with these three services, and we can write the business logic inside the employee service, and then after finally we can get those data into the main class and we can print it. So request will start with the main class, it will go to the service class, then after it will go to the CSV, it will read the data from the CSV, it will come back to the reader class, then it will come back to the business, which is service class, then after it will go to the filter, it will come back, and those filter we can send to the CSV data writer, and data writer will store those data inside the another CSV file, and finally we can get it back. Okay, so this is the whole things we are going to do. Okay, so let me create one project, a stand-alone project. We are not going to use any database or anything. So let me create it. Project, a Spring Starter project, which is a Spring Boot project. Here I can give the name called Spring Boot. So let me give the name called Spring Boot F6 or maybe 7, whatever. 6, and also I will mention like read data from CSV. Okay, and artifact will be same, and the group name, package name will be same. Let's go and just we have to create the starter project. So if you want to add, you can add this dev tools, otherwise not required also. Okay, leave it, no need to add also. So go to the next and just finish it. Once we finish it, we can see one project will be created based on the our initial package, whatever the package we have provided, based on that we'll create it. Okay, so let's see. So this is the Spring Boot 6, read data from the CSV. So if you see here, it's importing, getting a started content. So it's downloading all those required jar, which is need for the pom.xml, which we have added. So based on that, whatever the jar is required, dependency is required, it will download it for us. Okay, let me switch, or let's wait for some times. Make sure internet is connected with your system, otherwise it will not download all those jar, and at the end you face lots of the issue. The code will not compile properly. So those issue people are getting generally sometimes. So it's creating a Maven project, a Spring Boot 6, read data from the CSV. Okay, let's wait for some times. And if you see, it's downloading the jar like byte body, Spring data, actuators, then after a starter, all those things. Download is going on, so wait for that. Okay, so if you see our pom.xml, so in that poem.xml you can see all those latest version of the Spring Boot, our project name, those things you can see here, and our project version, license, Okay, and then after finally they have added the, if you go below, they have added lots of the things. Let me see. They have added something called a license, developer, SCM connections. Those things are not required, but okay, let it be. Then after Java 17, we are using a starter and test. This is the two dependency only, and those only we required because we are not using any external dependency which is required to do work with us. Okay, so let's cut this file and let's see the structure. So your structure is ready. We already understand all those structures. So let's start our design. So first what we need is, we need our CSV file. So we can go right click on project, go to the files, and here you can write whatever, employee if you want, so you can write employees.csv. Okay, and just click and create this file. Okay, so it's going to open here, but I don't want to open in that. I'm going to open in normal notepad, so open with the text editor. So it's open here. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to write like CSV file with comma separated data, which is employee ID, so 101, and I will provide the name like Prince Kumar, and then after some other data like what is the salary, so maybe salary is something, you can provide anything, 8,000. Okay, 102, name is Ajit. Okay, Ajit Kumar, having a salary like 70,000. Okay, here 103, having a Mukesh, and Mukesh having a salary called 1400, 14,000. 105 or 4, the people's is Pappu Tomar, having a salary called 40,000. Okay, 105. Let's give one more name, which is Deepak Kumar. Let's put the salary 50,000. Okay, so this is the salary range. Okay, with the employee, and we have this data. Now what we have to do is, we have to design our classes like that, so that each and every class having a single responsibility. If you see, CSV data readers having a only and one responsibility to read the data from the CSV file. Employee filter data having a only one responsibility to filter the data. CSV data writer having a only one responsibility to write the data. So those classes we can create first. Okay, single responsibility classes, and we can start the design. Okay, so this is our main classes. So in main classes we are not going to touch as of now. I am going to create those 3 DAO classes. Okay, so we have a DAO classes called CSV data reader DAO. Okay, so this is the one of the DAO classes. So let's modify the package name also called DAO. Okay, so this is one of the DAO classes, and this class we need to create a bean object, so we can make it like a repository. Okay, so that Spring will create the bean for that. Okay, IOC container will create the bean for that. So CSV data reader DAO, this class having a, okay, let me create one more class. In the DAO package itself, we can create the class name called CSV data writer DAO. Okay, this one also is a DAO classes, so make this class as a repository, right? We have one more class which is filter. So for filter we can create one utility package. Okay, utility or util, util, util package, and we can give the name called employer data filter, employer data filter. Okay, so this is the three classes we have designed as of now. Let me refresh the project so that you can see the proper structures. So this is com.app, this is the DAO classes, this is the util classes. So we can start with the reader to design these classes, and this is the util classes. So make sure this class also we have to create the util classes, so you can make sure it should be a component. Okay, fine. What we can do is we can start with the DAO classes and we can write a logic to read the data from the database, right? So I am not writing as of now anything. I am going to create one more package for the service. So let me write employer service and give the name called service. So this is the service class. We can annotate this class as a @service, simply, right? So our service class is also ready. Now do we need any other classes? I don't think as of now. Okay, we have already all those things. So I'm going to CSV data readers. This class having a responsibility to read the data from the CSV file. Okay, so let's design the method name. So public public, this having a responsibility to read the data from the CSV file. So this will return a list of employee, right? So first we need to create one class for the employee also. So we can create one more class which is model class or entity class dot entity, or you can say the model also. So let me write model and give the class name called employee. Okay, so employee class is ready. The class, I am not going to annotate anything, just I am going to declare those fields. So private, okay, private, and then after we can use what we can use is we can use private employee ID. So employee ID is integer value. So in EMP ID private string EMP name, or name, just name is also fine, and private salary is double value, double, so double or float, anything. Okay, so we can write double salary. So this is the three fields we have for the model class. For this field we have to set the value and we have to get the value. We need constructor also, so we can create those method also. So let me generate getter setter method. We can use the lambak also, but as of now I am not using it. So this is the setter getter methods which we have created. Okay, get employee ID, set employee ID, get name, set name. Okay, I need one more method called toString, but it's a default method, so I don't want it. So right click, go to the source and generate the toString, which is proper way. So it will print the data of the employee. Okay, in the same way, maybe I required one constructor. I don't think I require. Okay, I will take the help of the setter getter only. So this class is encapsulated class. Okay, we have made all those class variable as a private, and we are providing the access of those variables with the help of the getter setter method, which is public method. Okay, so this is the encapsulated class. Now go to the CSV data reader. So let's write a method. So public void, not void, we have to return from this class list of the employee, because once you read it, you have to return those data to the service. So we can write list of the employee, and we can give the data called read CSV data, read CSV file data. Okay, and this method, let me return null as of now. This method will take one file name, which is a string and file name. Okay, so this method will take one file name, which is the CSV file name, and from that file it will read all those data from the CSV file, and it will create the list of the employee, and it will return it back to the service class. Okay, from the service we are going to call this DAO methods, right? In the same way, we can write logic. As of now we have not writing logic. To do, we have to write to do. Okay, we can do to do. CSV writer. So CSV writer having a responsibility to take the list of the data and store inside the another CSV file. So we can write publics, and it should be a string, like it will return one status, like the data is inserted or not, like that. A string, and write CSV file data. Okay, and this one also will take a list of employee which he want to write inside the database. Okay, so this is the list of the employee. Let me write employee. Okay, so we will take the list of the employee, and finally we can return as of now null, and later we can design this class also. Okay, so this method will take list of the employee, and this method will write inside the another CSV file. Okay, and it will return back. Okay, correct. Next thing is, this is the filter class. So the filter class will take the method will take list of the employee data, and again it will do the filter, and it will return list of the employee data. So we can write the method called public list of employee, list of employee, and we can do filter employee data, or filter data, anything is fine. and we can return as of now null, and this method will also take the list of the employees, so we can give the same thing inside the parameter also, employee. Okay, so this is the basic design. In the same way we have a service, so in the service also we can create one method which is public void do process. Do process is one of the method. Those method is going to take one file name, string file name, which is CSV file name, and it will proceed, it will write business logic, like what action you have to do or when you have to do. So those things will be decided by the employee service, and from the employee service we can call all those methods. Okay, so what we can do while calling those methods, we have to, for example, I want to call CSV data reader. So first I have to annotate, create the object for the CSV data reader. So we can write private CSV data reader, CSV data reader now, and in top of that you have to auto add it. Okay, then only the object will be created, and then after we can write the business logic. Okay, read data from CSV file. How? We have a method support CSV data reader dot read CSV data files, and we can pass our file name. It will return back list of the employee. Okay, employees. Right, then after we have to send this data for the filter, so we need filter object also, so we can write private and we have a employee data filter, so we can write employee data filter, and we can annotate this class as the red afterward. It's a field level injections we are doing because it's look good and it's look very simple. As of now we are doing to understand those things, and then after what we can do is we can call. So this is the business logic. Now what we are going to do is filter employee data. So we can write employee data filter dot filter employee data, and we can pass our list of employee, and it will return back also list of the employee. Okay, those are the actual employees data. Okay, after filter, then after what we have to do is we have to save those data, right? So store filter data in another CSV file. Simple. So for that we have to take the help of the CSV data writer. So we can create the object for that also, right? So private CSV data writer, CSV data writer down, and make sure do the auto add so that we can get the object for that, and then after we can do the operations, right? CSV data CSV data writer dot write CSV data to the file, and we can pass those employee data, and we will return one a status. Like what is the status? Data is written successfully in the database, like another CSV file or not. We can print those status into the next line, simply just a status. That's it. So this is the business logic which we have written, right? This is the business logic. We have done the CSV data reader, then after employee data filter, then after CSV data writers, and all those methods we have called from the our classes called employee service, and from the service we have called all those methods, right? Okay, the next thing is what we have to do is right now, okay, what we are going to do is we are going to read those data. So I am going to put one debugger here, okay, and I am going to call this methods do process from our main class. So as of now, do you see we have written the code for the data reader? No, there is no logic inside this. So what it will return? It will return the null. So it will return null. We got here null, right? Once you got here null, and after that if you pass this null here, what will happen? After the passing the null here, if you go to this class, filter class, what will happen? Again it will do nothing and it will return the null. Again null will come, okay, to the service, and from the service also we can pass those data to the employers, okay. So data writer will take those data, he will do some operation, nothing, it will also return the null. Finally it will come back here, the null will come as a status and it will print a null one. So as of now our code will not break anything, but as of now what we have done, that is just a architecture, okay. Now let's start writing a logic for data reader, okay. So what we can do is, what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to close all those files, okay, and let me refresh our project, okay, and go to the main methods, and from the main methods let's create the bean for the service first, okay, which is context we can say, and then after we can call context dot get bean, and we can pass the service method employee service dot class, and it will return one beans, so employee service, and based on that service we can call the employee service method employee service dot do process, and inside the do process we need to pass our file name. So what is our file name? So if you go below, our file name is employee.csv. So we can write here employee employees.csv. This is our file name. We pass those file name. That's it. So it will call to this service method, and from the service it will go and call to the service method do process. Service method will take those file name and it will send back to the read CSV data. So we can go to the read CSV data. In the read CSV data, what we have to do is, based on this file we have to find out all those file data, okay, and take those data and set into the employee. This logic we have to write. So how we can write it? Simple. Simply what we can do is we can read the file. So first create the file reader. Okay, file reader, file reader equal to new file reader. Okay, and in this file reader we can pass our file name. Okay, so our file will be created, our file will be accessible. Then after what we can do is let me, it's throwing some exceptions, so let me handle it with the try catch only. Okay, and then after what we can do is let's handle with the exceptions. Okay, the next line is we can top of that file reader we can create buffer reader. Buffer reader will give some magical method, so with the help of that we can do all those operations and we can read the file. So this is the buffer reader, BR we can give the name, and equal to new buffer reader. Okay, and in buffer reader we can read send file reader, so it will intercommunicated with that. And buffer reader having a one method called read line, br dot read line. So we can take the help of this read line method. It will read one by one line. Okay, and once it is read this line, what we have to do is, so this is the line, so this line having a one data, which is this entire data of one line with the comma separated, it will come, and this is the string, so we can split those. Okay, so we can split those, so we can write read line dot split, and based on the comma separated, so it will give us one array, which is array, a string array. So this is the data. Okay, and from that data we can read one data, right? We have a three data only. First one is id, so we can write int id, right? How we can read the id? Simple, we can write array of so we have a data is array, so in the 0 positions we have a this data. So what we can do is the 0 positions, so this is the string data, because this is the string array, so we can convert this string array data into the integers. So we have a one method called integers dot parse int, and we can pass your this array, so it will convert to the integers. Next is a string, which is name, and name is just same thing, so data of 1, nothing else. Okay, it's a string itself. Next is double, so double is salary, and in the salary what we can do is we can write double dot parse double, and we can pass data of 2, correct? So it will convert this double data into the string data to the double salary, which is salary. Then after we can create one employee object, so employee equal to new employee. Okay, and in this employee we can set all those data, so we can set e dot set with the help of the setter getter method, set id, e dot set name. Okay, e dot set salary, right? So those value we have to set it. So right now if you see, we have read only one line, but we don't want to read only one line, we have to read each and every line. I am correct? Yes, each and every line. So we have to write this logic inside the what? inside the loop, then only we can read multiple lines, because read line will read only one lines, and in that if you do all those operation it will read only one line, you can't go to the next line. Okay, so for that we have to use the loops. Okay, so what we can do is we can keep this data inside the loop. So we can write one while loop, while loop, while, and while loop we can say a read line not equal to null. Until it's not a null, try to read this data. Okay, and going to the next line. So once you got those data, which is E, what do you have to do? You have to go to the next line. So in the read line, update your new data, which is new line. So what we can do, br dot read line again. So your data will be updated, and again we are going to do work on new data, and we can store all those data inside the employee. So every time employee will change. So before it's going to change, what we can do is we can create one list here, list of the employee, list of employee. Okay, employees equal to new array list. So we can create a new array list, and in that array list, each and every time after reading those data, what we can do is set in list, set in list. So employee dot add new employee. Okay, every time go to next line. This is code for the go to the next line. And once you read all those data, this is the employees finally we have stored. Finally we can return it back here. Okay, and make sure once everything is done, while loop is closed, try to close your buffer reader. So br dot close, and also you can close your file reader. So file reader dot close. That's it. This is the two things you have to do while reading a data. I will show you while doing a debugging also. Okay, so I have put it one debugger here, and this is the main class. So from the main class we are passing those file names. Let me start our code as a debug mode. So run as a debug mode. Okay, so we came here. Okay, read CSV data file. We can go inside this method. So a step into, we can came here. This is the file name. Go one by one. So file reader, buffer readers, read line. So it's readed only one line. 101 Prince Kumar 8000 is salary. Go to the next. So this line is true. Okay, if you go, what we are doing, we have splitted those data into the array form. From the array, based on the index, we are reading those data 0, 1, 2, and we are storing in the different format. Okay, so if you see, we have read the ID, we read the name, we read the salary separately, and finally if you go down, it will create one employee object, it will set inside this, and it will create one employee object finally. Okay, this is the employee object is created, and those employee object we are going to set inside this employee. So right now it's empty. If you go to the next line, it will add one object inside this employee array. Okay, and here if you go, so right now what we have in the read line, Prince, and if you go to the next line, now if you see, we have a 102 which is Ajit Kumar. So new line. So they have provided the new lines, and at the end if you go, it will go to the different lines. Okay, so I hope you understood. We are able to read those data. What we are going to do is, we are able to read the data and we are able to send those data come back to the service. So in the service what we are doing is, we are doing the filters. Okay, before going to do the filters, I am going to write here one logic to print all those data onto the consoles. Okay, print data on console. Okay, and otherwise we can write the utility method also, but not required I think. Let's go with that only. And this is the employee. We have employees dot stream, or maybe you can use the for each also directly here. Okay, for each, and employee dot for each we can write system, or maybe you can take the help of the lambda expressions. So e lambda expressions system dot out dot print, and in the print we can print those data. Let me give here ln, so it will go to the next line every time. Okay, so this is for the printing the data, that's it, nothing else. Okay, so after reading the data from the files, just we are printing on the console. Employee dot for each method, this is the one of the another loop which is going to read one by one data from this employee, and it is going to print on the console. Just run this project and you can see all those data we are able to print on the console, which is 0 to 5, all those employees. Okay, after doing the filters also we can print it. Okay, after doing the filter also we can print it. So I have written one more line of the code here to print after doing the filter also. So let's go to the filter class and write the logic. So writing a logic for the filters, we have a lots of the things. We can use the Java 8 features, and if you use this one, for example, you created one for loop, and with the for loop you are going to write employee e colon employee. Okay, and here you have created one list of employee list equal to new array list, because after filter we have to store multiple employee, and maybe we are going to do the based on the salary, filter based on the salary. So we have to write one conditions: if employee salary is greater than, if e dot get salary is greater than how much, 20,000, this is the 20,000, then only add those employee into the list. So emp list dot add employee, correct? This is the one of the logic. But do you think nowadays people are using Java 8 features, and if you write this code, they will thought, oh my god, what he doing, lots of the lines of the code he writing, which is not required to write this also. Okay, so this is the code we have written. So this one will, what it will do, it will take employee list, from this employee it will do the filter, the employee is greater than 20,000. Okay, then only it will print. Let me run this code. So if I run this code, it's not separated. Okay, so what we can do is let me print one s out here. So it will give some space. Next line it will go. Okay, so this is the data. So 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. This is the all data which is reading from the files. And after the filters, if you see the employee having a data which is no, this one is wrong logic we have written in the service maybe. So go to the service and we have to do the operations in the employee data, not employees. Okay, why? Because after the filters those data we have to display, not the reading data only. So I have run one more time. So if you see the peoples who are having a less than salary of 20,000, those peoples are not in these filters, right? So those data we have to write inside the another CSV file. So those we have to take care, right? So this is the things, it's working fine as of now. We are able to do filter also, but this code is not recommended as of now. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to comment these all lines and you have to write this code into the one line of the code. Okay, so just comment it and go to here. And what about the employee we have? Dot convert to the string, use the Java features, use the filters, and in the filters read one by one employee and check if the employee dot salary is greater than 20,000, right? If greater than 20,000, then collect those employees. So collector, you already know, I hope. So collectors dot to list. Okay, you can convert into the list and you can return it back. That's it. Only one line of the code will fulfill your requirement. There is nothing else. Okay, so that is the power of the Java 8 features. If you don't know, I have uploaded already lots of the videos on my YouTube channel, so go and check out. I have explained in the depth so you can understand better way. Okay, it's doing the same things. Okay, right? Just give me this next line. Right? It's the same thing. If salary is greater than 20,000, then only it's printing. Okay, so this one code you have to use it. Okay, correct? Let's go to the service again, and we got the filter data. Then after we are sending those data to the file writer. So write the logic for the file writer in the some other files. I'm going to take some other files name which is public statics string, the another CSV file name, and I will give the name called filter employee data dot CSV. So this is the file name which we are going to use. Okay, so writing a file into the another CSV file, what we have to do? We need file writer. So we can create the object of the file writer equal to new file writer. Okay, and take the help of the string itself, file writer, CSV file name we have given. It's also throwing the exceptions, so let's handle it with the try catch, and it's giving the exceptions. Okay, that is fine. What we have to do here is, once your file is ready for the writing the data into the files, what are the employees data you have to convert those data into the line by line in a string format, right? So what you can do is, you have to iterate one loop, right? You have to take the help of the loop. So let's start with the loop. while while employee, so take one by one employee colon employees, right? So we have taken only one employee. Why it's giving like that? See, this is the employee data only, na? Okay, let's write the for loop. So this is the for loop. Okay, so we are reading one employee, and those employee data we have to write inside the another CSV file, and we have a file is ready to write the data. So first, this employee data we have to convert into the string. So how we can convert it? A string data equal to e dot get id, get empid or id, then after plus comma separated, then after plus e dot get employee name plus double quote comma separated plus what, e dot get salary, and plus if you want the next line every time, so just include it here slash n, so it will give the next line. That's it. So your data is ready. Once it is ready, with the help of the file writer, you can write those data into the file. So we have a write method. And this write method will take the string and we write the data into the file, and those are the data. That's it. Once it is done, you have to close the connections also. Okay, so once it is done, you have to close this connection. So we can write what you can write, file writer dot close. Okay, and you can write the finally block also to close the connection, that is fine. And here you can send one message, data stored in another CSV file successfully. If it is not, you can write this line of the code here, close the connections and return it back. We got some exception or something. Okay, so this is the code you can write easily, and you can do the filter of the data, and what are the operations you require to do on your data, you can do it. Okay, so let me use the one debugger here, and I will show you how the data is going to write into the database. Okay, so let's start into the debug mode. Okay, right now we are here. Let's skip it. We came here. Let's skip it also. We came here finally. Now we have to write this data into the files, which is another CSV file. So this line is executed, and if you see this file is created or not, just refresh your project. And you can see here filter employee data CSV file is created. Let me open this file with the text editor. Okay, I don't want this Excels. Okay, so right now if you see there is no data. Okay, let's execute one line, and then after see the data. No, right? We are not able to see. So let's refresh one more times. it's not printing any data. So let's go and go. These are the filter data. Status, if you see the status successfully written into the database. Then try to refresh it, it's working or not, let's see. So whatever the data you have written, let's go to this filter file and you can see the data is now, you are able to see while closing a connections, it's doing the flush. Flush means store the data into the database. Okay, let me show you once again. This one we can remove it. Let's remove all. Okay, and here in the data writer I am going to write a flush for every point. So file writer dot flush, so it will reflect the data immediately. Okay, and here I am going to use one debugger. Let's run this code. Okay, so if you see this file having no data, right? This file having no data, which is filter employee. Now if you go to the file writer and go to the one employee, it's going to write do the flush. So once you done the flush, data is written inside the your file. So flush is also required if you want to reflect your data immediately. If it is not, then wait for the close, it will show you. Okay, so all those data is written successfully. Okay, after filter. Hey, this is not a after filters. I think some logics we have written wrong. So go to the employee service and here what we are passing, this one data we have to pass, employee data, which is filter data. And those employee data you can see it's written inside the database. Okay, now if you see the filter data, which is 3 record only, more than 20,000. So I hope you understood like what is the concept and how we have done this, what are the things are involved in that. Lots of the things we understood, like what are the package naming convention, how to create a modal utility DAO, those things, how to create a CSV file stored in another CSV file data, and how we are calling from the main method passing in CSV files. What is the business logic? If you see the each and every class having a single responsibility, even it's a data reader, data writer, or maybe employee service, or maybe employee data filter. So each class having a single responsibility. We are following the solid principles, right? So those things also I try to explain with these examples, and in the next video we can understood some depth concept how to design our whole project, okay, in the good way, okay, involving in the controller, lots of the interface and lots of the DAO services, everything. Okay, thank you so much.